it's not only an unethical move, it's just, throwing everything like, against the wall, like throwing the international law, throwing the respect of the sovereignty of any other country. Besides, ethically, it's not really acceptable, or no one can swallow it.
No, and the aftermath was also unprecedented. So President Trump basically told the Israelis to apologize to you. He took your side. He took the side of an Arab country against Israel in this specific case. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I don't think it's ever happened before. What was your reaction to that?
Well, of course, President Trump was very clear from the beginning since the attack. Actually, when he was informed about the attack, he assigned one of his advisors to reach out to us, and at the same time he called His Highness after the attack, and he expressed his frustration, his disappointment from such a thing that's happening by Israel, because he knows everything about the process and he knows how helpful we were throughout this process. And this kind of move was shocking for him as a partner in these efforts, in these endeavors to achieve peace in Gaza. And at that time, actually, when the strike happened, it was happening while we were trying to convince Hamas to accept the offer was made by President Trump at that time, to convince them to engage, to convince them to get a deal before the 20 points being developed when the attack happened.
So you're saying that President Trump was surprised by the bombing of Doha by the Israelis. Of course, it was his peace process that was short-circuited by their bombing using American money. You're saying that the president didn't know that was going to happen. He was surprised.
He called us right away. His advisors who reached out to us, they reached out to us just a couple of minutes before the attack, which was like the attack was already happening. So it was very clear demonstration with all the actions that this is something happened against his will, and he doesn't accept it. And he made it very clear for everyone that this is like a red line, that he doesn't want anyone to cross it, and we highly value that and appreciate it.
And I'm just pressing you on this because there were news accounts in the subsequent days, the next day, the day after, in Israel saying, no, the Israeli government did this, the prime minister did this, with the agreement of Donald Trump. This was part of Donald Trump's plan, was to bomb Doha, bomb his own peace negotiations, and you're saying that's not true.
Well, I think this is one of many efforts to sabotage the relationship between Qatar and the United States, and they want us to believe that. And I think that these efforts are not new to us. We have seen a lot of efforts ongoing for years now on, based on disinformation and spreading lies and false information about Qatar in order to hurt the relationship between Qatar and the United States, which we see it from our perspective as mutually beneficial for both countries, because we advocate for something different than what our adversaries advocate. Our adversaries advocating for escalation, for bombing, for controlling, but we advocate for resolving conflict in a diplomatic way, trying to stabilize the region, and that has been Qatar policy since inception.
So you said that your country has sent money to Gaza for humanitarian reasons. That's your position. Basically paying to help the people who are being bombed by Israel. Now there's the question of who rebuilds Gaza, which has of course been completely destroyed, and who pays for it. And I wonder, well, I don't wonder, I just imagine with total certainty that you will be asked to pay for the rebuilding of Gaza. Why would you do that? Why would you rebuild a region that's been destroyed by a country that also bombed you?
Well, look, Tucker, here, there is like a very, say, like an ironic situation when you look at like two conflicts happening at the same time, and you are hearing like many about when it comes to the Russia-Ukrainian conflict, that Russia should fund all the reconstruction and their assets should be seized to fund all the reconstruction of Ukraine. While when you are talking about Gaza and Israel, flattened this land, and you say that Israel has the responsibility to rebuild what it's destroyed, they will tell you no. You will have, as a region, you will have the responsibility to do so. And it's really very ironic double standards when you look at it. From our side, as a state of Qatar, we will continue supporting the Palestinian people. We will do whatever to alleviate their suffering, but we are not the ones who are going to write the check to rebuild what others destroys. That's basically our position. But also we will not let the Palestinian people at dry if they are not helped or they are not funded.
I should say from an American perspective, it's even more grotesque. So you are asked to pay for the destruction and for the rebuilding. This is like, yeah, it's a little much. So, but you're saying clearly that your country will not pay to rebuild what Israel destroyed.
That's our position. Our position is that our payments will go only to help the Palestinian people if we see that the help is coming to them is insufficient. That's basically our position.
What happens to the current residents of Gaza? Do they stay in Gaza? I know there's an effort to find some other country to send them to, either in Asia or Sudan or Milwaukee. But do they stay in Gaza?
Well, I think that, when it's hurting us when we hear people talking about the people of Gaza as like, some sort of different people, because like they have the right to have the choice where to live. And they don't want to, to leave their country. And we have seen these demonstrations like in many occasions when we see the opening between the south and the north of Gaza. We see the mass return of the people to their homes, even if their homes is flattened and gone. They just go there and build a tent. And this is just showing you how solid are those people, how resilient are those people, how those people, they don't want to leave the land that they belong to. And I don't see anyone has the right to deport them or to force them to go somewhere else. It's their country, it's their home, and they have all the right to stay there and to live there.
Yeah, the idea of moving millions of people by force into another country, has been discredited, I would say, historically. Big picture, this is a question that remains unanswered in the United States. Like, what is the plan here exactly in the Levant? What is Israel's plan? What is the strategy? I understand it's, defeating Hamas and Hezbollah, and, I understand the short-term goals that are often articulated, but what does this look like in 10 years? What is the object? Do you have any idea?
Well, I think, if we look at the situation currently, I have mentioned that yesterday. The situation currently is not is not something that can survive for long in being stable. Now, the issue that if the Israeli forces remains there, if the violations remains happening in Gaza, this conflict can escalate again. And that's what all of us we want to avoid. The best plan is to apply what's been already agreed on in the plan that President Trump has launched and the countries in the region has supported, to rebuild Gaza for the Gazan people to remain there, but also finding a political solution for the bigger issue, because if you keep this issue unresolved, the Palestinian issue unresolved, things will escalate again and again. We cannot build a house without building the foundation of that house. And the foundation of that house, that the Palestinian people get their rights for their states, and they have the right to stay in their own land.
From an outside perspective, it seems like the prospect of, full rights internally or a separate and autonomous Palestinian state, those seem like more remote than ever. That seems less likely than ever to happen, but maybe I'm reading it wrong.
Well, unfortunately, peace needs, a partner also for that. With the current configuration in Israel and what we are seeing in the political landscape there in the Knesset and all those resolutions that they are passing against the two-state solution is just, setting us apart from this path, which is unfortunate to see that there is no enforcement to push them that this is the only path forward to have a two-state solution. We cannot, remain hostage to the far right and the extremist agenda to ethnically cleanse the Palestinian or to kick them out of their lands. And what we are looking for two countries, two people living side by side peacefully and being part of the region. And that's what the entire region is aspiring for.
It is widely believed in Washington that Israel will initiate another war against Iran in this coming year, 2026. I don't know if that's true. Do you believe it is true?
Well, let's hope not. I think that it's very important to try to find a way to reactivate the talks on the nuclears and to see a track of diplomacy, because right now what we are seeing, there is an absence of any efforts in resolving the issue diplomatically. And as we have mentioned many times, that anything would happen to Iran, it will have its impact on the entire region, on the entire Gulf region. Qatar, Saudi, Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, all the countries will be affected with such a thing. And I hope not, but there is a lot of uncertainty of what's happening in the region right now. We see Lebanon bombing is continuing while supposedly the war is ended. We see Gaza bombing is still continuing while there is a ceasefire is ongoing. So it all depends on how can we make sure that Israel stops at this level and doesn't escalate further.
One of the reasons I openly admire you despite much criticism and was grateful to interview you today is because your country acts as a kind of neutral zone around the world, not just in your region. Switzerland no longer being non-aligned, unfortunately, it's fallen to your country to be the place where people can negotiate conflicts to peace, settlement. You're doing that in Eastern Europe with Russia, Ukraine. You helped get Evan Gershkovich out of prison in Russia. I don't know if you've gotten credit for that. God bless you for doing that. Do you see that conflict as moving toward resolution?
Well, I think that there are a lot of hope in the current endeavor that's carried out by the United States to reach to a resolution, because I believe that this war has becoming very disruptive, not